Hi, and welcome to Back to School Night here at James Wood. My name's Heather Powers, and I'm your child's food and nutrition teacher. I apologize for not being able to be here in person with you tonight. I am attending my own child's Back to School Night at Sharando High School. I have a junior there, and she begged me this year to come and meet her teacher. She's so excited about all her teachers. She was like, "Mommy, please, can you come?" And so I did get special permission from Mr. Salyer, and I thank him very much for allowing me to do that just this one year. Um, I've I already made one video, and I am redoing the video because I noticed that I kept saying and it was getting on my nerves, and so I can imagine it would probably get on your nerves. So I'm redoing it, and I'm going to really pay attention to not say or We'll see how it goes. So I'm your child's food nutrition teacher. I imagine that I just did it. I just did it. But I imagine that your child took this class because they thought they were going to get to eat. Surprise! No, I'm just kidding. They will get to eat. I consider it one of the more fun classes at Jameswood High School simply because of that. We do get to eat. They get to make their own food, and what could be more fun? Right, they probably are not too excited right now because there's just certain things that we have to do before we can allow them to work in the food lab. And so we've been going through our safety and sanitation stuff the past few days. We have a pretty good team down here in the Family and Consumer Sciences Department. And by the way, it's no longer called home ec, and we sort of get a little offended when people refer to it as home ec because it's so much more now. It really is. But in any case, we have a great team down here, and we've really tried hard to make these what could be very boring safety and sanitation lessons more exciting and interactive, and therefore hopefully more memorable. They're getting ready to take their test, the next class, and I think they're ready for it. It's not a particularly hard test, but some kids tend to get stressed out just knowing that it's a test. But we've never had anybody fail it, so this should not be a problem. And then after that, we'll get into foodborne pathogens a little bit more in depth in the food nutrition class. It's an important aspect of being safe and sanitary because not only do we want your child to be safe and not get sick from foodborne illnesses, but there's going to be 19 other students working in that lab, and we don't want them sick either. So it's important that everybody get this information so that we can all be safe and stay healthy and not get any foodborne illnesses. Not good. So once those initial weeks are over, then what will generally happen throughout the year is that one class will be sort of an information giving, learning experience here in the classroom. And then the next class will probably be a lab. Labs are going to be a major portion of their grade because that's what they're here for. It's a life skill. I think it's an important life skill when kids get out on their own. They need to know how to cook for themselves because we don't want them eating at McDonald's every day. It's expensive and it's not healthy. And I say McDonald's, but really it's any kind of eating out, whether it's at Glory Days or Chili's or Wendy's or Chick-fil-A. I know the kids love Chick-fil-A, but even that's not healthy altogether. It's okay once in a while. Anything's okay once in a while, just not a steady diet of it. So we want these kids to know, I've had kids come in here, they don't even know how to cut up an onion. They don't even know that they're supposed to take the peel off. We don't want kids leaving here living on their own not knowing that they have to take the peel off of an onion, okay? So that's part of what I do. The other part of, besides teaching them how to cook, different ways to cook, trying new dishes. I had one child last year who had never even seen a piece of pork, and it wasn't like it was a religious thing or she was allergic to it or anything like that. She had just never had a piece of pork. I had one of my friend's daughters a few years ago, I remember, had never had a piece of pineapple. I mean, good grief. So we want to give these kids as many experiences as possible with the ordinary. And then I also, the one of the weeks I really love is going to that food store there on Route 7 that has some exotic fruits and vegetables, and so we'll bring them in and we'll just do some taste testing of things that they've probably never tried before. And that's always an experience. Dragon fruit for me was probably the most interesting, just the way it looks on the outside and also the way it looks on the inside. Anyway, I veer off course. So let's see. The other thing down here, I say down here, I'm talking about the facts department, that we teach workplace readiness skills. Ordinarily, in the years past, I've sort of separated that out from our food and nutrition classes, but this year I'm going to try to integrate it a little bit more, and they will be graded a little bit more on this, such as, are you coming to class on time? Are you completing your assignments on time? You're making the best use of your time here in the classroom, because I will give students time to work in the classroom. Are you coming dressed properly for the lab? You know, if you're a working adult, in most places they're going to have a certain dress code or maybe even a uniform. And so it is with our food lab, and that will be part of their grade. For instance, so many students wear hoodies to school, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, except when it comes to the food lab, because those things get worn inside, outside. They don't get washed, probably very often in most cases, and so they're harboring all these germs, and we just can't have that in our food lab. And with girls especially, a lot of them will just wear like a camisole underneath, and we can't wear that in the food lab either because it's not dress code for school. So they will be warned when we are going to work in the lab most times. Now, if we're in the lab and I haven't warned them, obviously I'm not going to take points off if they haven't been warned that we're going to be working in the food lab. That's not fair. And I'm pretty fair. So 50% food lab grades, they are test grades. Some of them might even be double test grades, depending on what we're doing. And then I rarely give tests because I don't know that that's a lot of times a true test of their knowledge. I like to do projects. That way they can take the stuff that they've learned and actually do something with it. Because I think that's the important thing. You know, they can know it, but knowing then how to do something with it is another story. So those will also be test grades. And then I will have classwork, which is about 25% of their grade. And I don't give homework because I know that they have a lot of stuff in their other classes. So therefore, I give them class time to work on the work that I've given them. And so I expect them to use their time wisely and to work on my classroom stuff. Some kids will come in here working on other classes because they forgot to do their homework. And because I'm giving them class time to do my work, I don't want them doing their other work. So that's going to be a part of their workplace readiness grade as well. So they'll take a certification test probably late winter or early spring. It's a workplace readiness exam, and they can earn a certificate for that, and or a credential, what they call a credential, which is now required for graduation. They have to have at least one credential in order to graduate, and that is one way to get it. So we'll be doing that, and we'll be getting ready for that in our class. We will talk about nutrition. My kids from years past tell me I get way too excited when I talk about vitamins and minerals. And I do. I talk, your child may come home talking about how they need to get a bottle of zinc because when the colds and flus start, going around, getting passed around, I say, take your zinc, take your zinc, take your zinc, because that's been a habit of mine, and I'm a lot less sick now than I used to be before I started taking zinc, and I have students, again, in years past who also now swear by it. So, get a bottle of zinc now. I see my time is almost up, and I probably haven't told you everything you need to know. I've left some papers where you can ask questions or, any concerns you have, write it down. I have a basket on my desk. Please put it there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can with it. Again, I thank you for coming tonight, and again, sorry I couldn't be here, but I do thank you, and I hope you and your child have a wonderful year this year. See ya.